Welcome. Welcome everybody. My name is Chaitanya Paidimukula. I'm head of products at databases, and I'm responsible for all data movement, including data ingestion and database migrations at Google Cloud. Today, I'm really excited to talk about, real-time operational analytics using Datastream. I'm going to share some market findings that we have and how Datastream can actually help you in this journey of building real-time streaming analytics and generative AI applications. So let me talk about the big picture and the demand for streaming. We have always been moving data. Data integration is part and parcel of anytime you do analytics whenever you want to find insights. But what is happening is that the whole because of um, uh, customers trying to react to the businesses in real time. You want to be able to actually service your customers better, service your clients better, service your businesses better. There is a demand for access to real-time information and real-time operational information. So yes, batch movement does help in your building your enterprise BI dashboards and everything, but real-time is critical to actually react to a certain event, whether it is improving sentiment analysis or finding out buyer propensity or adjusting your supply chain based on the demand forecast and etc. And all these problems have to be dealt in a real-time fashion, and the access to real-time information is critical. And this is where I think there is a huge demand for change streaming. We actually at Google we did a huge survey on data AI trends in 2024. So we spoke to a lot of businesses, IT leaders, talked about their goals and strategies and how do they harness generative AI. So the key findings were, the top five trends that we were able to decipher from all these conversations is, um, the Gen AI will speed the delivery of insights into organizations, which means that with generative AI, the insights that you're going to, the speed at which you can get insights into your business, into your customers, um, is going to actually change. Then the role between the data and AI will blur. Obviously, I think AI is only as good as the data you have, and there is this seamless movement between data and AI, and I think that line is going to blur quite a bit. Um, Governance is going to become the key anchor for when we get into generative AI. This is very important because when you are actually talking about insights generated by LLMs, you want to make sure that it is always grounded in your operational truth, and it's always governed because you need to know where data there are no data exfiltrations happening. The data is secure. Your users are able to access the data in a secure fashion. Fourth one is really, really important. This is to unlock your generative AI potential for your enterprise applications. Your operational data will become critical. And I think this is where we talk about grounding your models in operational truth, because I think we have seen that LLMs have an ability to hallucinate a lot. But when you are actually talking about enterprise insights into your customers, into your business problems, you need to make sure that these models are grounded, truly grounded in your operational data. And then obviously we know that 2024 we are already halfway through. We are already in a rapid period of data modernization, the data platform modernization. This is going to continue to evolve, and customers are already, and users alike are looking at the entire data ecosystem as a single platform that operates seamlessly. So with that, what we have done is, if you go back and look at one of the trends that I talked about, how do you actually ensure that you can unlock your Gen AI potential? It actually goes back to how do you unlock your operational data? And this operational data has to be, you have to have access in real time. One, because integration is extremely hard, and especially when you have your fragmented data silos. And usually these data silos have been built over a period of time. You have ton of applications running in an enterprise, and and accessing data becomes extremely hard. And there are a lot of point-to-point integrations that happen in an environment, but maintenance of this hairball of integration pipelines and everything becomes really challenging. Then That also hinders your ability to react faster, because if you want to react faster, you need access to the data. But you want to ensure that when you're accessing the data, you don't have any disruption to your operational applications. So when you go and look at your, you're running a, mission critical application which actually does order management, or CRM type applications on some of these operational databases, you want to ensure that you can react to it, but you can't really disrupt the ongoing application workloads that happen on the databases. Which means, you can't slow down the application, you can't really stop any applications. You want to make sure that database is still servicing your customers and business as well. Then the last problem that we always see is, how do you ground this Gen AI? How do you make sure that whatever results you're getting from the Gen AI is actually grounded in the operational tool? So I think these are kind of the challenges that customers face in a typical in this new environment. These challenges have always existed for more than a couple of decades, but it is becoming even more. There is a lot more focus on this, because of the whole evolution and with Gen AI, and the revolution it's causing to the entire business insights. So, well, the way we have looked at this problem is, we launched this service called Datastream around 3 years ago. It's already been around, but there were three big pillars on which we based on this, right? We actually said, hey, the service needs to be simple. Data replication has been there for for a long time. Customers have been doing data and database replication for a long time. But one of the things that we actually anchored on is, we needed to keep this simple, because a lot of the database replication technologies that are out there can get really complex, and it gets into the nuances of the internals of databases and everything. Obviously, it's always good to have knowledge in very good hold on the databases itself, and knowledge of the databases. But that should not hinder you from actually integrating the data into your analytical systems. So we made it actually very simple. It's actually a simple click through process. It allows you to have capabilities to adjust to your schema drifts, data drifts, all that stuff. Then the other thing is, it's completely non-intrusive. The way we've introduced is, as I mentioned, you should not put operational workloads. Your operational workload should not get impacted adversely when you're actually moving the data. So one of the key things that we have done is, we have taken, change data capture. It's all, non-intrusive way of getting data, for MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, AlloyDB, and moving it seamlessly into BigQuery without having to actually generate a schema, nothing. You actually have to say, this is my source, this is my target, and you actually go through it, and you can seamlessly start moving the data. And this system that we have built, Datastream, it's a cloud native service, completely serverless, scalable, elastic. And this also allows another pattern that is evolved over a period of time, which is the ELT pattern. So instead of bringing the data to processing platforms where you extract the data and do transformations on a processing platform, what we have done is, we have brought the data, and then now you can build your ELT pipelines, use something like data form, which comes with BigQuery, to actually build your SQL-based pipelines, and do ELT, so that the processing is happening where the data is there, right? And this actually gets into, what are the kind of use cases that we can do. I already said, Datastream is very simple. It has seamlessly integrated with BigQuery. It's serverless and secure. But not only that, you can do a few things. One is, you can actually want to stage data or create an operational data store within BigQuery. It's all supported. Let's say you want to actually build your, a lakehouse architecture combining BigQuery and GCS. You can actually, it is already supported, so you don't have to do anything else. And then, if you want to do complex ETL transformations, our enterprise ETL offering is Cloud Data Fusion. And Cloud Data Fusion allows you to do very advanced transformation, aggregations, and things like that. You can actually stream the data into Cloud Data Fusion, and then use and build ETL pipelines for enterprise ETL, and to solve for your enterprise data warehouse and data mart use cases. Then it is also integrated with Dataflow. Dataflow is this unique platform that we have innovated at Google, where we can switch between batch and streaming seamlessly without having to redo the pipeline. So because if you look at it, one of the biggest challenges that we have, when you look at Spark based platforms, is it still cannot do real time very well, right? So the data flow is based on Apache Beam, and what we have done is you can actually do streaming pipelines and batch pipelines, and you don't have to change these pipelines at all. And depending on the SLA, you can actually do batch or streaming. And Datastream directly goes into this data flow, and you can use data flow out of the box templates, and then use this real time operational data and build your own streaming pipelines with all the other transformations that you can do, like windowing functions, time series, etc. And again, the key advantages I want to reiterate is simple experience, because I think we are grounded in simplicity. We want to make sure that the product is so simple that anybody can use it. So we have simple guided setup for setting up your network connectivity. There is nothing you need to do for BigQuery. As long as you have access to the project, you can actually start writing to BigQuery. And then it is completely serverless and scalable. So that means that obviously it's a cloud native service, no servers to deploy. Depending on your low latency requirements and everything, the scalability is built in. And it actually is very well integrated with other GCP services that I talked about. Obviously, you can write to GCS and BigQuery. You can write to Data Fusion for enterprise ETL. You can actually use data flow templates to do streaming pipelines. It's all integrated with our GCP ecosystem for your logging, monitoring, and a single security layer for identity access management. So I think that those are like the key advantages of Datastream. And I just wanted to share how the journey is, and how does it actually flow. Very simple. As you can see, it's a guided approach. You create a stream. Stream is a first class object. Think of it as a streaming pipeline. And when you create a stream, you just go and say, hey, what is my source? You can define connections. Connection management is already built in. These connections are persisted in a secure fashion. No passwords are exposed and everything. And then you can only access this if you have access, if you have IAM authentication and role privileges to actually create a stream. And then once you create a stream, you can actually, once you create a connection, you can test the connection. Next thing, I think you can say, hey, this is my this is my target, this is my BigQuery. You can actually pick and choose all the tables, or filter out on tables, and what you want to replicate, and immediately, and then you can actually use encryption keys along the way. And then once it is done, then you just have to say, hey, you can create the stream. And once you create the stream and you start the stream, it's always running. There are a few things that we have done in the product recently. Like, I just want to share some of the innovations. By the way, the product supports complete recovery, which allows you to recover from paused or stopped streams. We also just announced append only mode. So if you want to create operational data stores in BigQuery, we can actually take the data and merge the data and ensure that your operational data store truly reflects your operational database from which you are pulling in the changes. But for compliance use cases, we have seen that customers also want an audit trail of the data. So we can actually run this in an append only mode, which will allow you to have the changes available as audit records, so that you can go back and look at each record and see what has happened to that record, what has changed over a period of time, and you can actually keep this for compliance and auditability use case. And I think this becomes very, very important, not just in the regulated industry, but I think with the Gen AI and all that stuff, it's important to have a trail of what happened to my data, and data provenance will become very, very critical. So I think all these things are supported in the product. I just wanted to share a couple of different architectures that you could do, like um, uh, you can actually take data stream, fully operational, for data distribution, operational data store, and then write it to BigQuery, and then you can use our enterprise BI Looker to actually create your dashboards and so on and so forth. You can also use Looker Studio for visualization. That's one. Or let's say you want very complex transformations using data flow. You can actually take this source database and then use Datastream. You can actually we have to store it in GCS buckets. Again, completely secure, encrypted. You don't no data is exposed. And then with data flow templates, you can actually change take this data, um, perform more transformations on the data, because I think what Datastream does is it gives you the raw data in the same format so that you don't lose anything. And then with data flow you can actually take the data, you can perform additional transformations, whether they are streaming transformations or incremental aggregates aggregations that you want to do, and then write it to BigQuery and Looker. So again, the product is very simple, the service is very simple. It's completely serverless and scalable. It's completely secure, from a access standpoint, and from a data protection standpoint, it's completely secure. Nobody can actually see the data or touch the data until unless you have proper authorization and roles and privileges. So I wanted to share, and this is kind of my last slide. I wanted to share how is this whole thing helping our customers. So I wanted to give you like three different examples. So the pattern seems very simple pattern, because you're actually doing change data capture from the source and then um, trying to create a staging area. But it depends on what customers are doing. So one of the customers over here, they built a data mesh architecture which actually does a lot more than just building an operational data store. This is actually with the data mesh architecture. What they have done is they have taken the data streamed into BigQuery, and they are taking the data warehouse to the next level, because they're making this data available. And data mesh is becoming the source of the data, is becoming the source for your enterprise data warehouse and everything, and then you have a single place. The other thing is data democratization. So access to data will become critical. You can't give access to data on the operational systems because you don't want to increase the workload on the operational system. So what one of these customers has done is they wanted to democratize the access of data. They didn't want to, as the tables are getting added, things get added automatically, Datastream will start delivering the data. So they didn't want people to worry about where is my access to the data, how do I access to the data. So the change data capture really helped them to take this data and democratize and make it available in BigQuery. And then the other one is operational analytics and insights. So with data stream and change data capture, one of the key things that we see is that when you are able to run it, and you can actually do real time insights, you can actually react to an event. So if you are trying to do demand forecasting, or you want to run demand forecasting on BigQuery, and you want to get all your supply data and everything, and order data and everything, you can actually get this data in real time and react to your business. So operational insights for your to run your business to better serve your customers will become, you can amplify them, and you can do a better job with data stream. Like one of the things that this customer actually talked about was they have ran data stream for 1 year without any issue. They have been running since then. So this is another important thing that I wanted to share with you. And part before we end the discussion is, um, data stream is obviously an easy way to stream your changes, but one of the key things is there is the operational nightmare of integration is always challenging, right? Because you will have pipelines, you want to the deployment strategies, the CI/CD strategies that you need, and all that stuff. With data stream, you don't need any of that stuff. It's very simple. You start a stream, and this stream will run forever until unless you say, hey, you know what, I have to change something and all that stuff. You don't have to worry. As the tables get added, as the data comes in, as columns get added, anything that changes, the stream continues to run. And you can pause the stream, you can recover the stream, all that stuff is available. So again, I want to reiterate, um, with the whole requirement of having um, um, you know real-time data, and then having access to this real-time data to power your Gen AI apps, or actually to enable operational analytics. Datastream makes it very simple. It is a simple service. It doesn't have any complexity. It's just a guided experience through which you configure. It is seamlessly integrated with BigQuery and other services that we have. You don't have to do a thing. You just say, this is my BigQuery, and it automatically starts streaming data. Don't have to worry about schema drift and evolution of schemas and everything. And then lastly, it is completely serverless, scalable, and secure, which means that your data, we ensure that your data is nobody has access to the data. There are proper roles and permissions that are built into our Google IAM, and then it is completely scalable because if you have low latency requirements and you want to run it at a higher throughput with extreme low latency, the service will scale automatically, and you don't have to do any operational nightmare. So and I think it is going to become very, very important when you want to ground your Gen AI applications in operational truth, and having that access to operational data in real time becomes critical. So with that, thanks a lot for your time today. We really appreciate it. Please connect with us, follow us, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with follow Google Cloud, and look for some exciting data stream updates that are going to come in the second half of this year. Thank you.